Hey, Anthony, do you like my new shirt?
Sure, man. It's cool. Could have been better.
What was that?
I said it could have been better.
You want to fight about
Yeah,
it?
I do. Let's go, chump. Hold on a second. We don't need to fight.
We don't?
All you need to do is go to 86.com and choose from one of their many designs. Franchises range from Skullgirls to Street Fighter and even BlazBlue. And if you check out 86 through this Twitch channel, use 86.com/?AFF=4 to let them know that Mission Star Podcast sent you. Alright, so moving on to our next story at hand, and this one's going to be talked about by Alex.
So, mine's a one that's kind of near and dear to my heart. It's something that we've covered previously, but this is a little bit more specific. It's one from GameSpot. It's John Carmack. We all know him, Doom guy.
Yeah.
Talks about gaming's culture of long working hours. Now, I'm not going to read the entire article because this article's decently long. But basically what it boils down to is that John doesn't feel like there's any kind of issue with the hours people work in the gaming industry because and he does go to say like, okay, well maybe, he's out of touch, maybe he's got rose tinted glasses, blah, blah, blah. But he's very, very upfront. And he, by the way, he said this on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, but he's very much like there's no issue with it because, like, look, the gaming industry doesn't pay well. It does not have good benefits. Like, your benefits packages are shit. Like, you do this because this is something you love to do. So there's absolutely no problem with doing long working hours. He goes on further to say things along the lines of, like, he, for the kind of disregards the game companies that, mandate it because crunch time is crunch time is crunch time in the gaming industry. Every company has it to some degree. Any developer, even it doesn't even have to be the game industry. Any developer has crunch time to some degree. But he goes on to talk about how he doesn't believe that game companies will tell employees that it's not mandatory overtime, but you're expected to do it anyways. He doesn't believe that's a thing. And then he says, like, but I've never been in HR, and I've never been in that kind of position, but I just don't think it's a real thing.
What was the last game that he helped develop to that extent?
Dude, I don't even fucking know. Back in the day of ID. It's back in the day.
I was thinking Doom 3, maybe?
He does go
to say he still pulls really long hours. He's a CTO now for Oculus Rift. He still pulls 14-hour workdays. Or I think it said 14. He actually mentioned it specifically in here. No, 13-hour work days. So he still pulls a 13-hour work day, but will not work more than that because he doesn't feel that he's any use after that. Here's the thing. He's a fucking CTO. No one's going to fucking call him on it and be like, no, you need to work more. That's not how that works at that level.
Yeah.
Sorry, this seems very like...
Like, this is very much like, I have experience, I ran a company, and that's not a thing that happens. Bitch, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's...
He does say in the article that he's never worked at, like, one of the EA or Activision big dev, centers. So maybe it's different, but no, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. As somebody who worked in this industry, I worked as QA. I was a contract employee, and there was never mandatory overtime. But it was well understood that if you did not work all the overtime hours, you were not coming back next game. End of discussion.
Yeah. The last game it looks like that he full on worked on, like as a programmer and developer, was Rage in 2011.
Wow.
But at the same time, look at this name recognition. You're not going to tell him, hey, by the way, if you don't work these, you don't have to work these, but if you don't work these, you're not coming back. You don't say that to him. You just,
I hate to use the phrase. I hate to use the phrase, but his privilege is showing.
Yeah.
Yes. No, super privileged.
Yes.
And he kind, like I said, he kind of acknowledged the fact that like he's kind of privileged. Maybe that's the reason why, but he doesn't believe that. Like,
I don't give a shit what you believe. There are people that believe the Earth is flat. It's not flat.
Yeah, it doesn't make it true.
Yeah, it just comes out as tone deaf. If he does not realize what's going on in the game industry, how people have been speaking out more about their experiences, how there's a union that is still in development in the game industry that's been pushed hard for, like, he's very tone deaf, and he fails to realize that.
I do agree with one point he made. If somebody is truly 100% like, I don't mind, I will work the 16-hour day, whatever, no problem, I'm happy to do it, they should be able to do it. I agree with that. That point I agree with, because most of the times when I was working the overtime hours, I didn't mind. But there were some days where, like, I was dead on my feet. I was basically just sitting in a chair occupying space. I needed out of there, but I couldn't leave because if I left, my job's gone, basically. So I agree. If the person wants to work it, 100% truly wants to work it, let them work whatever hours as long as it's not detrimental to their health. Outside of that, never imply in any way, shape, or form that if you don't work this, you don't have a job in the future or you'll lose your job. And that does happen, unfortunately.
That's absolutely ridiculous, too, when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it happens mostly to the contract employees. I don't think it happens to the devs so much because you don't really look at your devs and be like, if you don't work these hours, you're fired. But it definitely happens to the contractors they bring in, which is what we saw with Rockstar so recently.
Yeah.
Rockstar is the perfect example of this. It's been all over the gaming news if you pay attention to the gaming news at all. We have talked about it. It is something they were doing where it's like, well, you don't have to, but if you don't work the 18 hours, you probably don't have a job.
Yeah, it was heavily implied, and
yeah,
it was definitely something that recently they've corrected on hiring all their contractors as full-time employees,
which is great news. And congrats to those contractors, by the way, for gutting it out and getting the full-time employee. That's actually impressive in the QA industry.
Props.
Like, that almost never happens. The only time you get hired as full-time QA like that is when you're like a QA lead.
Yeah, sounds about right. But man, Carmack, first thing, shut up. Second thing,
goddamn, there was no.
I'll say it too. Like, you once upon a time were a great dev. Shut the fuck up now.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex, your sentiments exactly. Like, I have huge respect for John Carmack for what he did, over the years, and the games he helped produce. And hell, fucking Doom is my favorite game of all time, and he definitely had a hand in it. But it definitely has shown, like, in this interview, like, it is tone deaf to what he's saying, and like it's almost like the old man in the Simpsons just shaking at the clouds, like, dude, shut up. Like, times have changed. You're obviously a much better.
Damn you, clouds! Ruin the game industry, dude. Shut the fuck up.
Like, he's in a much different position than he is back then, and it's much more of a different world today than was back then. So yeah, like, it's basically comes down to that with John Carmack. Yeah. Nothing else really to say, but like, it's some people don't change over time and evolve with whatever medium it is, and it definitely shows that there's more time has gone on. So
yeah, this is what happens, and I'm a firm believer that this should happen in quite a few more industries than it actually happens. Especially, my background is mainly in customer service, phone support. I honestly believe that your higher ups should be mandated to work in the trenches with their employees at least once a quarter, so that they remember what the fuck it's like. Because it's hard to manage somebody when you've been outside of that job for so long that you no longer know what they actually have to do or put up with.
Yes, preach it.
Like, and I'm not saying like you have to work a month there. I'm saying like work a week, in their shoes for a week with their exactly what their schedule is, and see what it's like.
Absolutely, I love it.
It's a very similar argument I have to people who don't understand what customer service is. Like, I truly believe that if you just for a month have to do customer service, customers wouldn't be such assholes sometimes.
True story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless they're like me, I'm still an asshole with bad customer service.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
it's true. If you're bad at customer service, I am a dick to you on the phone.
Bad customer service is different from what I'm referring to, where the customer's being, nice. And
you're talking about just like they're jackasses because they're jackasses.
Yeah, like the woman who fucking, no joke, when I was working at the gas station at 8 p.m., middle of the day, she comes inside the storage soaking wet. Ranting and raving that the car wash messed up her car. So we called the manager in, and in the time being, she's asking for towels, getting angry, yelling at me and the other girl I'm working with. Well, we're waiting for the manager to come in on her day off. Right before the manager comes in, another customer says, "So, ma'am, what happened?" And she says, "Well, I was in my car wash. I was in the car wash going through, and something happened to where I had to open my sunroof." The woman goes, "Did you opened your sunroof in the middle of the car wash?" She goes, "Yeah, I had to." Okay, that seems very strange that you would have to. And then what happened? She goes, "So I just got out of my car."
Yeah. And here's your sign.
Wow, a bilingual fucking.
Look, when it fits, it fits.
I mean, it fits. Just not what I was expecting today.
Wow. Oh, all right. Well, there you go. There's Alex's story in this part of the podcast.